Hello everybody, welcome back to Conor here, Leeds TV. Hope you're doing really well after the weekend's win, and we're back here with your Derby County preview, Leeds TV. Listen, how do I feel about this game? Well, it's just another game in the Championship fixture list, really. I'm trying to not get caught up in this Derby County hype of, last season and all this sort of stuff. Listen, we said what we wanted to say last season. It was over. They beat us in the playoff semi-final. We beat them 3 times over the course of the season. We're in the same division. So that's all that really needs to be said about that. There's been so many differences or differentials that have happened since then. Frank Lampard obviously moving on. Tomori, Mount, Wilson leaving as well. We've had Janssen leaving. We've had, big players like Roof leaving as well, who's the absolute destructor of Derby last season. So we've seen a lot of different things happen, and Ben White's come in, Helder Costa's come in, and Nketiah's come in for us in particular. Obviously Derby have had the transfers in as well, but it's a completely different game. It's a completely different outfit. Leeds are going to play the same way, of course we are, but how can Derby combat Leeds? Well, for me, what they need to do is exactly what they did in that second leg, which is sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back. Frank learnt his lesson. And then counter-attackers. If they come at us once again, as we say on every single preview, blow for blow, they're going to get picked off. They've got the blueprint last season. Derby got picked off 3 separate times when they came blow for blow with us. They cannot play football with us. No team in the division can play football against us and get a positive result. It's just not happened. The proof is in the pudding. The only way to come up against Leeds, to get a victory against Leeds, to completely subdue Leeds, is to sit back and potentially hit us on the counter-attack. But that's where Leeds need to be smarter. That's where Leeds need to be better, ultimately. We've not... Last season, we weren't able to do it, really. When teams sat back, QPR, Birmingham, Hull, etc., even like Derby. I'd say Villa to an extent as well. Even when teams have done that, Leeds weren't able to break through. But this season, we've seen a little bit of a difference in that. We saw it with Wigan. We've seen it with Brentford in particular. Brentford really sticks out for me because, Brentford were there with a little bit of a game plan, and Leeds were able to get through at the end thanks to the goal from Nketiah. But it is, how do we start the game? I saw earlier that Helder Costa's ex-teammate Dave Edwards had come out and said he was the best player he's ever seen play. He's the best player he's ever played with. He's had plaudits from ex-players, and it's circulating around on Twitter and social media at the minute, because obviously the question is, are Leeds going to start him? Obviously he came on the left. A lot of people were talking about him being on the right, but he actually came on the left and did a wonderful job for me against Barnsley when he came on. You look at the difference in Barnsley, how they retreated. Barnsley's whole ethos changed when Costa came on. Cavari stepped back about 2 or 3 inches. The defence was going to a more covering position instead of coming out with the ball, because they knew if the ball got to Costa, he can cut inside, couldn't cut outside. It's game over. And the exact same happened with Eddie when he came on. He put the fear of God into the Barnsley defence, and you can tell they were looking over the shoulder. Halmer, Anderson, they weren't sure where he was. And it was the exact same with Cavari and Costa. He was stepping off. And that's where Costa got a lot of the joy. A lot of balls in which Leeds didn't manage to connect with. Yes, a wayward effort at one point, but if you're going to categorise his entire performance on a wayward effort, come on. I thought he was amazing when he came on. He completely changed the game for Leeds, the balance of the game, how we played, how we were looking going forward. Defensively, he does a job as well. A lot of people go on about Costa, but he does a job. He does a job defensively. He's always willing to get back, and that's the big word for me, willing. He's always willing to get back. He's always willing to help his team, and he definitely looks different from the Helder Costa we saw at Wolves last season to what he is under Marcelo Bielsa's tenure. So the 16-17 Costa, that Costa which terrified the Championship, there is that player is there. He is there. He just needs to be unleashed. And what better game to do it in? What better game to do it in than Derby at home? To absolutely blow them away. Where are Derby going to get more confidence? Derby are going to get more confidence if they wait and wait and wait and wait and hold and hold and hold and hold, and then they bring Jack Marriot on. Let's say if he doesn't start, or Joseph Zoon, then they start counter-attacking Leeds. Why don't we actually take assertiveness? Why don't we take control of the game straight away? What's to say we can't go 2-0 up inside 10 minutes? What's to say we can't do that? What's to say we can't put out a performance like we did 3 times actually against Derby last season, where we're absolutely mesmerising? Why can't we do that? Well, I want to see Leeds go at them from the off. That is what I want to see, and there's still that hangover of Leeds starting games poorly and slowly. Poorly may be a little bit harsh, But I would say slowly, and there's evidence still in the games that we play that we don't start games as well. And when the substitutions come on, we all know who we're talking about here, but when the substitutions come on, it revitalises Leeds. Leeds get an absolute spurt, and we go on to better things. You know, as soon as Costa came on, as I've said multiple times, the game changed. Eddie came on, the game was stretched. Offensively, we looked a lot more dangerous. Defensively, we looked exactly the same anyway. You know, a lot of people turn around and say, well, Harrison gives us more defensively. I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure that's true at all. And I think Costa, the big word, as I've said, is willingness. He's willing to put in the shift. He's willing to get that start in place. And what better side to do it against than Derby at home? They're definitely susceptible at the back, 100%. I still do not rate Richard Keogh. A lot of Derby fans that, let's say you're on this channel, you might disagree with me. Don't rate him. I think you get a good nippy striker against him. He doesn't know what to do. I think the fullbacks, I believe they've got a lad called Max Buchanan and a lad called Lowe as well. Lowe, who was actually sent on loan after Jack Clark took him apart at Ellen Road. And that's the difference as well. You know, Jack Clark doesn't even now get in our squad, you know, and Jack Clark was the beacon of hope when we played Derby those last couple of times. He was the beacon of hope. Now he doesn't even get into the matchday squad. That just shows you the level we've gone above. So, yeah, and the young centre back, the young fullbacks. Then you've obviously got Clark, who came in from Portsmouth. I do like Clark; he's a decent player. And obviously you've got Bielik, who's just in front of them, who was at Charlton last year. Bielik, who's on loan from Arsenal, similar to Eddie with us. So where can Derby really hurt us? They can massively hurt us on corners and set pieces, 100%. But I'm going to say that for every team in every preview, because every team can do that to us. We're Leeds United. We're a small team. If Koku plays the way, I mean, he should do against Leeds, he should be holding, then hitting Leeds on the set pieces, making sure the set pieces are effective. But as I've just mentioned with Costa potentially and Hernandez, you've got two experienced wingers there. I think this is perfect to start Costa. I don't understand now why Harrison gets dragged off at half time. You know, you saw that image of Bielsa having his arm round him, you know, talking to. The game naturally starts offensively slower. We don't go forward enough. I genuinely believe, and I'll get shot down for this, but this is my personal opinion. That's what I'm on here to give. I think Jack Harrison is a left wing back. I think he's a left wing back. I think you improve his defensive structure a little bit. He could be the exact same player as Alioski. I don't think he enjoys taking his man on. And you can see that. You could see that at the weekend. He doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't believe in himself to do it enough. He's lovely with the cutback. There was a brilliant cutback to Pablo Hernandez. But we don't see it enough. We do not see that enough from Harrison. That was a wonderful cutback, wonderful bit of vision. Found Hernandez, and Hernandez should have scored. He should have scored. It was a clear-cut chance on the penalty spot. Should have scored. But he doesn't do it consistently enough. Now, you see when Costa comes on, he creates 3, 4, 5, 6 chances in 15 minutes. You know, that's over the average of when he's come on, the time that he has come on. It's the same with Eddie. When Eddie comes on, there's a chance creation. There's an effectiveness in front of goal. And how long are we going to keep giving them, Harrison the chance? I'm sorry. I like Jack Harrison. I really like him. And he's come on a level this year. But he's not Costa's level. He's not Premier League level. He's not got ex-Premier League players turning around and saying he's the best player they've ever played with. Or he's a world-class player, which was quoted last week from an ex-Wolverhampton player. What more do we're a wonderful club for giving kids chances, and we're a wonderful club for that, and the fans back them to the hill. But this is where Costa starts. We bought him for £15 million. He has to start, because when else are we going to start him? Are we just going to keep him on the bench for the rest of the year? Make him an impact sub? Yes, it's working now, but are we just going to give Eddie and Costa a 15 to 20 minute bracket every game? What if it's not enough? It wasn't enough against Swansea. There's going to be times this year where that bracket is not going to be enough. We can't just rely on bringing those two on. That can't be the case, because we're risking it, massively risking it. Costa starts 100%. You can put him on the left, you can put him on the right, put Pablo into the centre. Pablo's played on the left as well. That's what I do, 100%. Costa has to start this game, because, we're just going to keep starting games slower and slower and slower. And then it's going to give the opposition more impetus, because they're going to gain confidence and they're going to be dragging the crowd. The crowd's going to be getting more frustrated. You can see exactly how it's going to go. I hope Harrison proves me wrong, and I hope he scores a hat-trick. Do I think it's realistic? No. Do I think you think it's realistic? No. So That's it for me. If you're not going to swap Bamford out for Nketiah, you've got to start Costa, 100%. Harrison's had a really good start. Costa is levels above. He's levels above. And if we get that in from the start, then hopefully we're going to see some really good stuff from either side of the wing, and we're going to be able to put Derby away pretty quickly, because that's what I want us to do. I want us to start putting teams away quicker, because, it's taking time. Barnsley, Wigan took a little bit of time as well. Brentford took a little bit of time. It's giving teams the notion that they can get back in the game. They can frustrate the crowd. I still stand by it. Obviously it's great in hindsight, but Eddie and Costa start that Swansea game. We win the game comfortably. But anyway, Derby County, they've got threats all over the pitch. For me, they've got threats all over the pitch, and I'm not going to be bitter and salty about it. They have. I really, really like Jack Marriott. I think Jack Marriott could play at the top level one day. I really do. I think he's a fantastic player. He's a nightmare for defenders, and that's where Ben White and Cooper are really going to have to come to the fore this game, because it's going to be a tough game. They've got attacking threats. Don't let the season's form so far sort of derive you from what's going on. They have quality. They have quality in abundance as well. Joseph Soon, who we were after, coming off the bench. They've got Waghorn. For me, he's the big problem. I don't understand why they're starting. I think he scored 1 goal in 16 games. For me, you'd be starting Marriott up front every single game. He's nippy. He reminds me exactly like Roof was. Nippy, in and out the channels, fluid, links the midfield and the defence up really, really well. I'd be starting him every single day, Jack Marriott. And, obviously the big news was Tom Lawrence is out this game, but I don't really feel Lawrence has been great against us. Obviously, he scored that speculative free kick, which Bailey Peacock foul should have saved. It was straight down his throat, should have saved that. And that was it, really. I mean, he's not done much, Lawrence, against us. And the big players I would worry about would be, your Clarks, your Bielicks, because it's going to be the corners that they're going to be effective from. So it's, can they get the delivery in? And are they going to be able to be effective on set pieces? So there is threats coming from this Derby side. Not only that, but the biggest threat for me, alongside Jack Marriott, is going to be Dwayne Holmes. I thought Dwayne Holmes, obviously, was on loan at Scunthorpe the previous seasons, come back to Derby, a much better player. And he's a very good. I really like Dwayne Holmes. Gets the ball, runs, he dribbles, and that's always going to cause people, defenders, trouble. He's going to be running at Phillips. He ran at Phillips a couple of times last year, beat him with that low centre of gravity, that quick nippy play. He's a good player. He's a very good player, and you get Dwayne Holmes and Marriott linking up, we're going to have problems there. But we need to be prepared for that. I'm sure the lads are prepared for that. But yeah, and that is ultimately what we're going to face when we play the top quality teams in this division. They are going to have quality. So we're going to have to combat that. How do we combat that? For me, start the game quick. Costa, I would have Nketiah on. I know a lot of you disagree, but I would have Nketiah on. How many more under 21 full appearances does he have to have when he's scoring 2 goals a game or 3 goals a game? Or how many full England under 21 caps does he have to do? Or how many more times does he have to come on in the 70th minute and score? The kid's an absolute bagsman, scores all the time. And I think a lot of us have got this notion in our head, well, he's an impact sub. Well, how can you say that? You can't call him an impact sub when we've not seen him from the start yet. We've not seen that yet. Is he too young to start? No, he's 19, verging on 20. The youth and the squad and Jamie Shackleton's younger than him. Started at the weekend. There's got to be, unless we go 4-4-2 diamond, unless we do that, unless there's a notion of a 4-4-2 diamond where it's going to be Bamford and Nketiah up front. And you're going to have sort of click on in the 10, then you're going to have Pablo Costa out wide, and then you're going to have Phillips in that defensive role, which leaves Forshaw out. Then we're not going to start Bamford and Nketiah. What a sub to bring off the bench, what a sub to bring off the bench in Bamford and Harrison. But you start with your best team. And Bamford's. He did all right at the weekend, but once again, 2 really big chances where we could have Barnsley sort of put away within the first sort of 30 minutes. He's not a clinical striker. I like Patrick Bamford. I like how he's changed. He's not a clinical striker. I'm not going to give him chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. In my personal opinion, your better players start games like this. If we don't, I can see this game going a little bit of a long haul. I think we start the exact same squad as we did previously, I think it's going to go long. I think it's going to be 0-0 in the first half, and then it's going to the second half. I don't know. I don't know. I just do not feel we're clinical in front of goal with those two lads. And listen, you can't just blame those two. You cannot just blame those two. I said in my post match, I don't think Pablo's been on it. I really don't, and he's not exempt from criticism because it's Pablo. I give him a lot more leeway because it's Pablo and he can create a chance out of nothing. But Pablo's not been. He's not been great. He's not been great at all. Click was fantastic at the weekend. Dallas, who's been standout. Dallas has been absolutely exceptional this season. Arguably the player of the player of the season so far. Backline's been excellent. I'd like to see Douglas come back in. But obviously there is still an argument for Alioski because Alioski has also been fantastic against Derby in previous games. But, defensively, he's going to be put under a lot this game. And, he was put under a lot in the last game against Barnsley. Jacob Brown, I feel Jacob Brown had the better of him. I really do. And Douglas needs to start starting games. Obviously, he's been injured, but he needs to get a consistency up, a little bit of a pattern up. A lot of people turn around and say, he's not good when he comes on. Well, you're not going to be good when you come on because you're fresh, you're into a game. Douglas needs to be embedded back in that squad, and I think it's the perfect game. So definitely 3 changes for me in this side. And, as I've said, I don't feel I need to justify myself with that, but I feel like I'm going to do it for you guys. But I just feel Alioski, brilliant going forward, but I think there is less mistakes when Douglas starts. When Douglas starts games, I think there are less mistakes. For example, when Douglas comes on, there are more mistakes, naturally. There are a lot more mistakes, and, I think Douglas has to start this game, build his confidence up, get him back into that side, because ultimately, he is our left-back, he's our starting left-back, and Costa and Eddie have to start. For me, as I've just said, it goes the long haul if we don't do that, because I think with those 3 in the starting lineup, there's going to be lovely link-up, there's going to be pace in and out of the channels. I think we're going to be effective in front of goal, and I think there will be goals, and I think there'll be goals quickly. So that's what I mean, I imagine Keogh against Nketiah. Come on. He got terrorised by Roof last season. The one game Roof's out, Keogh's unbelievable. We've got to play tactically here. They've got kids, fullbacks who are kids. We saw with Max Aarons and we saw with Jamal Lewis last season. It doesn't matter if they're kids. They can still play in this division. Are they at that level? No way. I've seen them play. They've not been tested yet properly. And, you get someone like Costa. You get Pablo well in tune with the game. Dallas always has a brilliant game against Derby. He's going to be doing that overlap job. If Pablo can't be doing the running, Dallas is going to be constantly bombing on. So that, for me, we've got to start our quicker players. Costa and Nketiah are going to cause Keogh, Buchanan, and Lowe a whole host of problems. I think if we start with Bamford and Harrison, it's going to be sort of the same old, a little bit rigid, us floating balls in, no effectiveness in front of goal. Yeah, is the game going to get to Bamford's head a little bit? The Derby game he was completely out of it last season. It was one of his worst performances, and I don't know why. Because he was all right in games before. But that's what I do, guys. I think we've got the blueprint of how to play against Derby, and it's quick, it's nippy, and it's effective, and that's what I would do. That's how I would start the game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's been a bit of a longer one because, unfortunately, due to circumstances, we've not been able to get more sort of like reviews of the games out, and we might not be able to get previews, so I just wanted to cover all bases with this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you are a Derby fan new to the channel, hello. Leave your comments in the section below. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's going to be an easy game for you? Do you think it's going to be a hard game for you? And I will see you after the game. See you later, guys.